All right, guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do Wonder Woman Annual, issue number 6 from 1997 from the Pulp Heroes line, whatever that means. I believe there's mostly one-shots. Painted cover, looks great. By John Byrne and Tom Palmer. There's also a backup story that I'm going to, address a little bit here. But the main story is where we're going to focus on. $3.95 back in the day, right? And look how thick it is. Jesus. Anyway, this is a story about Wonder Woman or Wonder Girl or Diana in Necropolis. And it starts here at the University of Cultural Antiques. You're doing some kind of a lecture about, possibly life after death, but not 100% sure. So one guy in the class says, hey, you work so much with heroes like Superman and Green Lantern. Have you ever experienced anything that proves that life continues after the body is dead? And she said, well, there's a very complex, there's a lot of complexities to it. But she's going to tell a tale. And this was about 10 till 12 years ago. And I thought, okay, yeah. Well, she was more like a little girl, and she's playing around with her friends on Themyscira. And she basically racing. She wants to do a shortcut, but her friend says, no, don't do it. It's too steep and treacherous for the horses. And the shale is unstable. The steep might lose its footing and hurl you off the... How do you say that? Precipice? Precipice. I don't know. This is the first time I see this word. Anyway, but, she is using a flower. The powers of flight to do this, right? Basically showing off a little bit. But, her seats, the leather strap couldn't hold the horse. The horse falls down. She picks it up, but it startles the horses of her companions. And then this is happening. So Ariadne is falling, and she is not only a friend, but also, well, I'm coming to that a little bit later. She's using the speed of Hermes to grab her, but it's too late. And she says, wake up, Ariadne. She made no sound, made no move to reach for my extended hand. She lay broken on the rocks, limbs bent at strange, wrong angles, eyes open but unseeing, staring into the into the high summer sun without blinking. Later, the group of Amazons, wrapped her body, and Diana says, I don't understand. What's wrong with Ariadne? Why couldn't I wake her? There is no waking from that sleep, Diana. So it seems that there was never a death in hundreds of years. So for the first time, an Amazon died. But she says, how can it be? How people can die too, like birds and fish and flowers? And then she asking the question here that she thought that all Amazons were immortal, right? That they can live on forever. Hippolyta says that is true, but they are vulnerable to the great pattern of the world. They can be injured, like poor fallen Ariadne. We can die. Now, I find that a little bit strange. I mean, isn't that something that she should know from, I don't know, maybe an earlier age instead of now, right? Anyway, so they're doing some kind of a ceremony, and everybody's, dressed in black clothing, right? The narrative here that is surrounding this whole page is great too, through the whole book, what I'm trying to say. And she is being brought to a part of the city that she has never seen before. It's the city of death, the temple of Necropolis. And there is a priest, right? And she's preparing the body to, to go along the river Styx to the afterlife, right? And Diana says, who is this woman? Her mask hides her face and muffles her voice. It's not a proper ask to such things, Diana. The priestess of this temple is chosen at random from among our numbers and bears her solitary burden for 1,000 years. So she's praying for this body, and then Diana comes forth for the ritual. So her mother instructed to, give her Ariadne a golden coin, right? under the tongue of her fallen sister. My mother explained this ritual to me. The gold coin was a symbolic gesture, a payment to Charon, a dark boatman who ferried the souls of the departed to their new lives on the other side of the river Styx. And then she's being lowered into the river. I mean, this is just one giant casket, right? And the ceremony completed, we left the temple, moving slowly back to our daily lives. Lives we would never be quite the same. And then she has nightmares. And in the nightmares, she cannot fly, she has no powers, and she hears a voice calling her out, called Diana. And it's Ariadne. And she's walking towards her, and then she's suddenly grabbed by skeletons, the dead. And then she wakes up screaming. Now, she tells that particular part about her nightmares to her mother. And her mother says, hey, the death of Ariadne was deeply traumatic for you. If you wish, I could summon the court physicians and perhaps they can prescribe a sleeping draught, right? But it didn't help. So every night she has nightmares. But at the fifth night, she would not go to sleep. She would go somewhere else. I slipped away from my room in the palace and went down the shadowed streets of Themyscira. The rollers, which was allowed 6 strong Amazons to move the great monument atop the altar, has been taken away and stored against future needs. But for one who even then possessed the strength of the earth herself, this proved no obstacle. So she's flying down, but then suddenly, the powers of flight leaves her, and she's falling in hard water, in landed water, and hard in the water, colder than the coldest ice. It shocks her, but then she can grab onto this stone pillar, and then later she made way to the shore, and she looks upon this beautiful looking city. Well, not beautiful, but I find it beautiful. No Photoshop, no stock photos, no Google images, all hand drawn. The city of the dead, the Necropolis. Look at this. This is amazing. Wow. This is the next chapter, by the way. Yeah, you can read it if you want. You can pause the video. So she explains that she is going further and further into the city, right? And nothing has prepared her to what she is seeing now. As I climbed to the dark streets, I felt the blood coursing into my veins, chilled to ice water. And then she's also have the feeling that she's been followed, right? That something is looking at her. But then she is here at this, through the levels of Necropolis, coming at last to a place I recognized at once as a dark mirror image of the great plaza in front of my mother's palace on Themyscira. It struck me as odd that there is, in supposedly timeless realms of the dead, older by far than any work of Amazon hands, there should be a palace so clearly built in imitation of the royal palace, right? So she's looking at awe, and then she's being grabbed by the dead, getting overwhelmed, but she still has strength in her. And then a voice says, enough. And it's the priestess. He says, what are you doing here? She says, this is the place of the dead, not the young and quick. I repeat my question, priestess. If this is a place of the dead, as you say, why are you here? Your home is in the temple. Is it? My home, princess, is with my subjects. I rule here as your mother rules on Themyscira. And if this is a place of the dead, is that not also fitting, since I am as dead as my subjects? But she says, what are you talking about? You're still alive. No, perhaps. So you are not dead. No, perhaps not in a literal sense. But she says that she's been here alone for hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years, left to the company of corpses. Abandoned? But my mother told me it was an honor to be chosen as the priest of the Necropolis. An honor to be given to chance to serve your sisters in the last needs on earth. An honor? Ha! To be the priestess of death in the land of immortals. Where is the honor in that? Where is the power? Do you know how long it has been since anyone has come to my temple before the death of Ariadne of the Blue Guards? 500 years of loneliness, princess. 500 years of abandonment. Basically, she is vowing or had vowed revenge, right, for her treatment. I filled my endless idle hours by poring over the ancient scrolls on my office. Millions upon millions of words, all written on the same subject, death. And one day, in one of those scrolls, I discovered a hidden secret, right? And then she's preparing later an altar in accordance with the description in the secret writings. I set about a ritual older than the memory of any Amazon. The summoning not of a departed spirit, but the actual physical body of the newly dead. The hidden words told me the departure of the soul at death was not an immediate thing. The spirit was not free to leave the body until the ceremonious attendant to its death had been completed. As long as the spirit remained within the body could be summoned by one who knew the way. So what she's doing here is summoning the dead and the bodies and the souls of all of the people that has been departed all over the world, right? As long as they're not being cremated, she could enslave them, if you will, right? And she's building Necropolis with the slaves at her command, right? Looks great, man. Now, after 400 years of labor, my citadel is completed, and from here my legion shall strike out to conquer the world of the living. Your legions? These things are not soldiers, they're not even human. But that's why you are wrong, princess. It's true the spell which brought them here was not able to preserve their physical forms, but their humanity is still within them. Mind to control, mind to command. But she says, no, you must let them free to go on to the next world. This is beyond inhuman to keep them trapped for centuries in these rotting shells. Priestess says, you poor little thing. You are too young to understand the ways of the world, the grim reality of life and death. But she will be, taught a lesson here. Because she will also be, among the dead as her greatest warrior. But she wants to escape, but her power leaves her. Because it seems that she is inhaling the fumes of the vapors created by the fires of these baskets the moment she entered foot in Necropolis. Those vapors has insinuated themselves in every cell of your body. None of your God-given powers will serve you now. And when those powers are restored, it will be because you are now serving, you will serve me. Because you are dead. But then this woman in this exhibition, right? Or what is it? Is it an exhibition? No, it's not. Yeah, this museum. So it says, my mother died 10 years ago. Was she among those that has been resurrected as a slave? But Diana says, I do not know. The priests stole bodies from all over the world for nearly 4 centuries. Some of them walking dead I saw in the Necropolis were newly departed. Some has been there as long as the mad scheme had been at work. So she wants to conclude the story, right? She's lying there on this, table, a slab of marble, colder than the ice of the deepest winter. All while I struggled to regain control of my limbs, my powers, but I was denied them. Now, princess, something special for the ceremony. It is only appropriate that one of her best friends would do the honors, right? Ariadne of the Blue Guards. Do not distress yourself, princess. Ariadne is a skilled warrior, and all her martial talents remain. Strike clean and swift, Ariadne, because she doesn't want to, leave the princess in pain unnecessarily. But Diana says, no, don't do it. Your words are wasted, princess. Ariadne is now mine to command. She remains so until the last scrap of her flesh drops from her body. But Ariadne hesitates. And Diana tells her to fight. You don't have to kill me. And she doesn't know why her friend hesitates, right? Because there's only dead eyes, no expression, only white face. You cannot control a princess. Ariadne has no will that is not my will, no thought that is not my thought. In that moment, I thought I might have my answer. Something in the way the priestess spoke my title, the infinite irony injected into the words princess. Since we Amazon lived here as equals, there had never been a time when I had felt the need to use the power my position gave me. But still, Ariadne was a soldier of the Blue Guards, and such as she has been, trained all her long life to protect the royal house of Themyscira. Basically, Diana commands her to lower her sword, right? Because she is also her loyal subject, not only her friend. And then Ariadne staggered back with a single step. Although there was still nothing to be read in her features, I could tell a battle was unfolding inside her heart and mind. The priestess commands Ariadne, but she hesitates. She talks to the priestess. Stay back, you cannot turn on me. You do not exist but for me. Kill me and the very enchantment that holds the city together will be broken. And why do you think such a thing would be undesirable, priestess? She screams and she's stabbing the priestess. And she picks Diana up and she says, we must go from here, or you must depart from here. You did not kill her? No, I sense her word were true. You must get away from here before she dies. Since I was not there to see it with my own eyes, I cannot say precisely what happened. No one will ever know what that last attempt might have been, only that it failed. She's been consumed by her own slaves. The effect was immediate. Princess, you must go on without me. Ariadne, no, you must come with me. The Physians and Themyscira can do nothing for me now. Go, hurry. My friend fell at my feet. The sorcery that gave her life, gave her body movement and twisted mockery of life has gone. As with it, the priestess has said, when the magic that held the Necropolis together in the shifting netherworld. But she picks up her friend, but she still doesn't have the speed of Hermes and the strength of the gods. She staggered and she fell, only to be waking up by her mother. And she says, the priestess, stop her. No, Diana, do not exert yourself. You have lain near death for more than 10 days. We have almost lost you a dozen times since we found you in the temple of Necropolis. You found me there. Yes, it was found at the altar, that she could have lifted and moved the capstone. Why did you do it? Your voice, even with the muffling of your mask, I can tell you are not the priestess. I am now, princess. Our sister who formerly held this office has vanished. We have searched around all of Themyscira and found no trace of her. Tell us what happened. Why were you at the temple? Do you know what happened to the priestess? She says, there will be a time enough to tell all, mother. Time and more than time. All the time of the gods grant immortals. I could see my mother did not understand. She concludes here, right? There is too much to explain. Too much for my limited experience wouldn't allow me to explain for a long time. But when the tale was finally told, the Amazons decided to close down forever the temple of Necropolis. None of her sisters would ever be again basket to bear the thousand burden that driven the priestess mad. So she decides, or the Amazonians decide to now cremate all of the bodies, right? So that they cannot be a slave again to such terrible sorcery. So this woman says, was it real? Oh, because you said it was a dream, a nightmare. It was a nightmare, but it was born in a fevered dream, not of my own. I have seen the most horrifying face of death. I have seen a friend die, the first time I had experienced such a thing firsthand, and I was left with the knowledge of 400 years of indescribable suffering by thousands of people whose time for such things should have been forever past. And now I see the clock that we are more than an hour past the allotted time for this lecture. I hope the next time we gather here will be to speak of things more pleasant. Thank you and good afternoon. That's the end here of this particular story. We have also here prequel to God, I forgot her name. Artemis. I did a 6-issue miniseries review on my channel called Artemis, And this is basically how it all began. Art by Ed Bennis and a lot of other people, how she's been enslaved, going to the land of the dead, held by the Demon King, etc. Looks great, man. Look at this. So I will read this, off screen, but you can, have a little bit quick, how do you say, a preview what's going to happen. And she's being now released by, with the help of her friend in the underworld. And she's now, the particular cover of Artemis is that she's clawing out of a grave, and that's basically what's happening after this. I believe this is in her home. Anyway, so yeah, great stuff. Great annual. I have nothing bad to say about it, right? Except that the part that she should have known that she, all people would be, immortal and that they can still die from death. But still, overall, this is a great book, great cover, great told by Tom Palmer and drawn by John Byrne. Guys, subscribe to my channel. Hope you liked the video. I see you next time. Bye-bye.